Muhammadu Buhari, who noted with pride the steady progress being made in Africa's peer review mechanism as a self-monitoring tool towards addressing governance deficit, reaffirmed the commitment of his administration to good governance practices enshrined in the vision and ideals of NEPAD.
Our administration has continued to vigorously pursue security, economic diversification, and anti-corruption as the main thrust of national change agenda. The totality of this strategy is premised on the promotion of democracy, respect for the rule of law and human rights, gender equality, and by far the largest investment in social change in Nigeria's post-independence history.
Nigeria, he said, is keen on joining the League of African Union member states undergoing the second peer review exercise as a firm demonstration of her belief in the dividends of democracy.
We have learned valuable lessons and gained a wealth of experience in our journey to entrenching democracy and good governance in all manifestations since the restoration of democracy in 1999. We must stay the course and continue on this pathway to a peaceful, secure, and more democratic Nigeria. My consent in signing the MOU further attests to Nigeria's commitment in promoting good governance, faster development, and sustainable growth.
Both the APRM Continental Secretariat as well as the lead panelists on the review exercise were convinced that Nigeria's success in the second peer review process will be Africa's success.
The APR panel and the Continental Secretariat are ready to accompany you in this important exercise of self-assessment and self-improvement.
You will agree with me that it's not very easy, that oftentimes people will subject themselves to be checked and to be investigated. So that shows clearly the intention of this government when it comes to transparency and accountability.
Amongst the benefits to be derived from Nigeria's second peer review process includes the entrenchment of good governance as well as consolidating the gains of democracy.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your courage and commitment to the challenging exercise that puts you right in your pursuit for transparency and change mantra.
Nigeria has demonstrated leadership by example. You talk of social intervention, you talk of infrastructure, human capital development, fighting corruption, stability of economy. This administration has really done well.
First reviewed in 2008, Nigeria is said to have recorded some accomplishments in the implementation of the National Program of Action as a major deliverable of the country's self-assessment report. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
In the meantime, Imo State Government is soliciting federal government's intervention in support of its renewed efforts at controlling and containing the second wave of coronavirus pandemic impacting negatively on lives and livelihoods. Governor Hope Uzodinma made the request when granted audience by President Muhammadu Buhari. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo brings us details.
The Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, who clocks 1 year in office, was in the State House to brief President Muhammadu Buhari on his accomplishments so far and solicit support in aid. One of such is the battle against COVID-19.
That the number of people testing positive and dying now is on the increase. And the state government alone cannot, as a matter of honesty, summon the capacity and the resources to address this menace. We need equipment, we need oxygen, we need well-equipped isolation centers, we need to test more. And Mr. President has promised that he will intervene.
Already, he said, sanctions have been introduced by his administration for any violation of the safety protocols towards reducing the spread of the pandemic.
A few days ago, I issued an executive order to make not wearing mask a crime. So any moment from now, we begin to arrest you in Imo State if you don't wear mask. I've given a 14 days ultimatum for all coming into Imo State to wear their face mask and comply with NCDC protocol or be arrested and be tried. I've created 6 mobile courts to handle those program, so that we don't joke. It's better we offend people that have refused to comply and get them punished than to allow this thing spread everywhere in Imo State.
The governor used the opportunity to formally thank President Muhammadu Buhari for approving the award of contract aimed at tackling what he called the most terrible erosion site in Owerri, the state capital, describing the gesture as fulfilling. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Away from the State House, more than 3,000 urban poor to benefit from federal government's COVID-19 interventions fund of 5,000 naira per beneficiary for 6 months. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo will tomorrow flag off the pilot scheme with beneficiaries drawn from 4 political wards, 2 each from Lagos and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Farouk, who made this known to the press at the State House, says the federal government will also continue the National Homegrown School Feeding Program once schools reopen.
Well, the government is doing its best to see that this program is being sustained. And don't forget that there's budgetary allocation for that, for the 2020, as well as for the 2021. So it's a program that will continue, hopefully, beyond even this administration.
And now our states responding to this?
Of course, they are. We are in talks with the states to see how we are going to enhance the program, to see how they're also going to make their own contribution into the program.
In another development, the homegrown school feeding program of the federal government that was disrupted last year as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and later modified to take home rations is set to commence as schools resume. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has organized the 4th annual review of the program with focal persons across the country in Abuja. Ruth Aguele reports.
It was a life-changing experience for many children who could not afford a meal at school when the federal government homegrown school feeding program kicked off under the National Social Investment Program. Now schools are back in session and the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is already strategizing on how to strengthen the program for the beneficiaries by bringing together focal persons from across the country for the 4th annual review of the homegrown school feeding program to share experiences and successes and also profile solutions to challenges.
The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development remains committed to providing the necessary support and the enabling environment for social protection and inclusion policies to grow and take root in the fabric of our nation so that future generations will thrive and succeed in a growingly competitive world.
I urge you all focal persons and program managers, as well as all other stakeholders here present, to continue to support the ministry in the most coordinated way to achieve the mandate of improving the lives of vulnerable Nigerians that are targeted in these programs, especially the Nigerian child.
And as the president of the country has expanded or maybe allowed for the expansion of the program, we hope to see more beneficiaries keying into the program, and we want to see more commitments.
As key players of the program continue the review in the next few days, the expectation is for an improved coordination at all levels towards actualizing the goal of keeping children in schools and reduce poverty. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the federal government's drive of ensuring every child has unhindered access to education and the engagement of youths in productive ventures in the Northeast has been described by Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State as a recipe to ending insurgency. Professor Zulum made the assessment at separate meetings with the Minister of Education, Adamu, and Executive Chairman, Federal Character Commission, Dr. Mohiba Dankakar in Abuja. Oluseyi Adebo tells us more.
For more than a decade, education and socio-economic activities have been disrupted by the activities of insurgents, a development that both the federal and northeast state governments are working to address, with the recent approval by federal government to establish Federal Polytechnic in Mongunu, following a bill to that effect by Representative Mohammed Mongunu. Governor Babangana Zulum visited the Federal Ministry of Education to acknowledge the gesture.
A letter to the President for the approval of the College of Education has already been written. So we are going to get the College of Education this year too.
God has answered our prayer today, and it will go a long way in boosting our educational drive.
Governor Zulum was also at the Federal Character Commission to advocate fairness in the country's recruitment process to ensure that disadvantaged states are given due considerations.
In fact, not only Borno State, the entire Northeast sub-region, in terms of the total percentage of workforce that we have in the federal system, is lean, and therefore soliciting for your support with a view to ensuring that our sons and daughters are being recruited into the federal system.
I'd like to assure Your Excellency that Borno State will get its fair share, just as your interface with other stakeholders.
There is the optimism from all that more development will come to Northeast, with peace returning as a result of the success being recorded by the military in the fight against insurgents. Oluseyi Adebo, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Education says no COVID-19 test is required for returning students to be admitted into their schools. A statement by the Director of Press and Public Relations, Federal Ministry of Education, Ben Bemgung, says only temperature checks should be carried out on students and any other person crossing any school gate. School authorities should therefore refrain from asking students or parents to undergo COVID-19 test before they are accepted back to their schools. Public and private schools across the country have resumed classes amidst the second wave of COVID-19. Najatu Tijani has the situation report.
In Kwara State, Damilola Balogun reports that primary and secondary schools have resumed for the second term academic session.
We have fumigated the school environment and there are sanitizers.
I've instructed the security. Any student without nose mask should not enter.
In Osun State, correspondent Adams Abdulkadir reports the same situation, with schools complying with COVID-19 protocol.
Once their children are coming to school, they should give them an advice not to share anything with any student.
Meanwhile, schools in the Federal Capital Territory resumed this Monday, but the resumption is still subject to review, says the chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, amid reports of increasing cases.
Briefing the teachers, social distance is being observed, and you see our children with face masks.
I believe we actually can observe all safety measures and keep ourselves safe and at the same time learn.
The committee says infection cases increased in week 2 of 2021 and the FCT continues to record new cases, with 54 being the latest figure as at 17 January 2021 in the FCT. The federal government insists on strict compliance with COVID-19 protocol, including effectiveness of symptoms reporting, monitoring, rapid testing and tracing of suspected cases, among other guidelines. Schools are reopening after months of disruption caused by the pandemic. Meanwhile, the effects of these policies and measures on educational objectives and learning outcomes are still being monitored. Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
More on schools resumption. Let's take you to Lagos, where Michael Olaleye guides us. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Kene. As
As most schools in the country resume classroom activities Monday, the major concern is adherence to COVID-19 safety protocols. Our Yusuf Jibo visited some schools within the Lagos metropolis to monitor students' turnout and safety measures put in place by schools.
At the gate of the school, we saw this banner which says, "No face mask, no entry." This already set the tone for what is to be expected. Hand-washing points were spotted within the school premises, though no student could be seen as they had already settled in for the business of the day.
Becoming what? Whoever has gone to the universities to study pharmacy.
Monsura Tijani is the principal of Agnus Memorial High School. Monitoring compliance with safety protocols is one of her key duties. Masked up as example to others, she emphasized that the school is doing everything within its means to ensure safety of its students.
So that all students must put on their nose masks, which will ensure that compliance is 100%. Then also washing of hands regularly, we educated them on it, and use of hand sanitizer.
Shomolu Senior High School has the same standards. The students say complying with laid down COVID-19 safety protocols is a strict rule for all.
Provision of social amenities for the COVID-19, like the buckets with running tap wash hands, hand sanitizers, and sometimes they can offer nose masks to students that don't tend to have.
All the students in the school are using the nose masks, and we are washing our hands always.
These schools and many others in Lagos have started with safety as their watchword. Observers are optimistic that maintaining these standards will significantly discourage the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria. In Lagos, Awal Yusuf Jibo, NTA News.
Traders affected by the recent fire outbreak at the Ijesha market are still at the scene, searching for the rubble with the hope of finding valuables among what is left from the sad incident. Amaka O has an update.
This is what is left of 196 Ijesha Market Road. This building was built in the early 1980s, but now is a shadow of itself after the recent fire that razed down the entire building. Owners of the building say that the building has been barricaded for security reasons as they await the Lagos State Building Control Agency to embark on an integrity test on the building. They also say they await a directive of the appropriate authorities before any form of reconstruction can be carried out.
That is why we are even still here this morning. Maybe we can still see something to gather again. We want the government to stand for us so we can, this building can still be like before. More than, even beautiful than before.
We just depend on God, and those individuals God is going to use, but mainly speaking, we need help.
And opposite me are petty traders who, for them, life goes on as they have displayed their wares and have begun trading in earnest. From Ijesha Market Road in Mushin local government area of Lagos State, Amaka O, NTA News.
Time now for our first commercial break, and when we return, we'll be linking up with Zinret in our Just Network Center for more on school's resumption.
JJ has always been my father's hero, so this year I wanted to do something really special. If I could just talk to JJ, I'm sure he would remember Dad. Mom says never give up. Hello JJ, it's me Victor. My dad's birthday is coming up soon and I want to surprise him. And she was right. I have been looking for you everywhere. Please help me.
Hi Samuel, happy birthday, it's JJ. Happy birthday to my man.
My dad is my hero, but now JJ is too.
The best data plans in town. Find your first. Dial *777#.
For you
to tanda for this world, you gats know what's up, sabi wetin dey ground, then start to do your run. Get ginger to sabi every. Because when you fit see the different side of the world, anything dey possible. BBC News for Pidgin, make your life better.
Dear customer, link your Airtel number to your national identification number today. Here are easy ways you can do it. Dial *121*1# on your Airtel line and follow the prompts on the screen. Type in your 11-digit government-approved NIN number. You will receive a confirmation message to confirm your entry. You can also visit www.airtel.com.ng/NIN to link your phone number to your NIN. If you do not know your NIN, simply dial *346# to get it. No stress, no wahala.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
When times are tough, we know that as a mother, one thing you should never compromise on is your family's oral health, because they deserve the best. Oral-B, all-round protection. Its great value, it protects your mouth from harmful bacteria and also protects you against tooth holes and gum problems which can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your family's teeth and gives them all-round protection. So remember, protect their future. Oral-B for healthier, stronger teeth in just 1 week.
Are you a secondary school student in exit class, or are you preparing for WAEC, NECO, JAMB, NAPTEP, or any exit examination, and you want success in one sitting without the help of any miracle center or the risk of examination malpractice? Then the School Aid app is all you need to succeed. The School Aid app will guide you to study and prepare for examination with ease and comfort. The School Aid app makes learning easy and fun. The School Aid app will be live soon. For more info, visit www.schoolaidapp.com. School Aid app, we aid you to success.
Imagine the joy that fills your heart when you have just given birth. Whatever your size, we got you.
Photo de grandmother.